I tried dating a boy when I was like 14 or 15 years old. And unfortunately, this boy had ideas that I didn't know about until he was trying to get me to do it with him. So, I went to a Christian school and grew up in the church. God and Jesus, that was everyday life. But life still had its ways of affecting me. As I got older, going through a Christian school, I got involved with some of the wrong people. And unfortunately, this boy had ideas that I didn't know about, texting things that I shouldn't have, talking about things that I had no clue. And I shouldn't have been learning that stuff at such a young age. It was devastating. He was grooming me. And as it goes, once he was done, he left. And unfortunately, all of our mutual friends went with him. So I'd lost my entire friend group and had been pretty much violated. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I was kind of at a loss. It was hard for me to go to school and hear people talking about me badly, saying that I was psychotic, crazy, all sorts of things. No one wanted to be my friend. And I felt like I had lost complete control of my life. It felt like there was no escape. Where was I supposed to go to find comfort or peace? And I wanted to end it. I just wanted to die. I wanted to go to heaven and be with God and not feel any more pain, not be hurt anymore, not cry, just be happy all the time. But I knew that that wasn't really a solution. It was a solution for me, but it wasn't a solution for my family. Being an only child, that would have, obviously it devastates any parents, but that would have been it. I can't imagine how it would have crushed my parents. And I knew that. So I knew that I couldn't do it. I told my parents how I felt. Finally, I got out of that school and started to try to live my life. I tried to get closer with God, but I wanted that validation from another boy, from friends. And unfortunately, it was mistake after mistake. I would try to date boys that were Christian, but they did not want to have Christian relationships with me. And it would get to a point where they would just be done too. They would just leave, or something would happen, we'd break up, and it was just heartbreak after heartbreak. After I graduated high school, I went to a camp called Equip. And there I was introduced to apologetics for the very first time in my life. And for the first time in my life at this camp, I was being given answers as to why the Bible was true, that God was for sure real, and there was actual scientific and historical proof. And I was amazed. I was enamored with it. And going through college, I studied it more, and my relationship with God was getting better. But it still wasn't great, because unfortunately I was still making mistakes that were pretty crucial. I guess I just wasn't living my life fully sold out to Christ. And I wanted to, but I just wouldn't fully take that step. And it wasn't really until I met my now husband when it all came to a head. I had been dating these Christian boys who were making me feel like I had to do things that I shouldn't have. And I met my now husband, who was my boyfriend at the time. He wasn't a Christian, but he was a virgin and he was waiting for his wife. And it really hit me that it was all completely unnecessary. For the first time in my life, I realized why why you shouldn't be doing those things. Because everyone just said, oh, just don't do it. Don't cross boundaries with people. Just don't do it. But I didn't really get why until I was sitting there having to explain my past to my spouse. It hurt him, it hurt me, and I finally got it. And I've heard someone say a phrase of renewing your vows to God. And I felt like God was telling me that I need to get rebaptized and rededicate myself. So I did. I got rebaptized, I think 2 or 3 days before our wedding. And as soon as I came out of the water, I cried. I felt like I had really been redeemed of my past. Like God was saying to me, like, you are forgiven. And I got to walk down the aisle. I'm just so happy that even though my past hurt and I made so many mistakes, God redeemed it. And it's so amazing that I can say that now, because I hated it. I hated going through all of that. I felt like I was a fraud in my faith, being given opportunities in ministry, knowing what my life was like, and I was like, I'm not worthy of this. It was all for a purpose. What the enemy had desired for evil in my life, God turned it for good. I'm learning to not have shame, to share my story like I'm doing right now, and know that God is using it for good. I hope that's encouraging to someone else out there, that no matter what you do, if you set your eyes on becoming more Christ-like and really focusing on learning God and His character, He will use it for good.